Welcome to Hustle and Pro Season 2, talking sports in Frisco from youth to pro. Now here's your host, Kelly Walker.
Welcome to the 100th episode of Hustle and Pro. I'm really excited to make it to 100 episodes. They say that's when you know you've got a solid podcast, is when you get to 100. So I thought, how can I celebrate getting to 100 episodes? I need a big guest. So, of course, we got one. Welcome to the studio, Jeff Cheney.
Wow, so honored to be number 100.
I'm excited to hear from you because I've seen, here and there some of your personal, sports posts and interests and things, but I've never really learned much about it. So that's what we're here to talk about. Now, I know you're the Frisco mayor, but this is not a mayoral duty. This is not, talk about so much Frisco. It's really about you specifically. So to start off, I like to ask all my guests some quick hits just to kind of jump in and get to know what you like about sports. So who would you say is your favorite athlete?
Oh, Michael Jordan. Let's go.
That was fast. That was easy. What about your favorite sports movie?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with Hoosiers.
All right. So I'm not even going to ask you your favorite sport because obviously it's a basketball theme going on. So season 3 of Hustle and Pro is about to start, and I change up those questions every season. So I'm going to give you next season's because I just am curious what yours is. What's on your playlist if you're working out or doing something sporty?
I'm a kid of the 80s, and so back then, being in suburban America, we thought we were all tough listening to rap. And so I go back to my roots. I got a little Snoop Dogg and Dr. So that's what I usually pull up when I'm working out.
Yeah, I have some of that too. I have a mix, but I definitely have some rap on there. I feel like it makes me work out a little harder when I have something like that to listen to.
80s rap is the best.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, that commercial right now, the Scoop,
Scoop there
tag
it is.
team. Gosh, I love it. Every time I'm like, this is great. Okay, so let's just jump into kind of personally your background. Like, what type of young athlete were you?
Sure. So I was what a Frisco kid is today, playing multiple sports at the same time, changing jerseys in the car. So I played it all. Soccer, basketball, baseball, football. And so, that was my life growing up, like a lot of Frisco kids these days. And just always loved sports, loved being an athlete. My dad was a coach for baseball, and so that was bonding for us, certainly, growing up. And
so he coached you. Do you have siblings that were also playing?
I do. I have 3 sisters, and so they were all athletes also. 2 older sisters that are twins. They played softball and were into equestrian riding as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
I do consider that a sport.
That's not your average sport.
Because if they listen to this and I say that it isn't, then they'll come after me.
Oh, for sure it is. They're competing and have to keep up. And that's interesting. I don't know much about equestrian, but that's cool. So they're softball players. That's my thing too. So I didn't even know you had twin sisters.
Yeah, and then a little sister too. And so she was an athlete, and I guess she ended up probably being the best of all of us. She's actually run ultra marathons.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like 50-something miles she ran on one day.
That's incredible. I don't even know if I hit that in a half a year sometimes. Okay, so you played everything, like you said. So is this in Texas you grew up?
I did. So grew up outside of Houston.
Okay, I thought Houston, yeah. All right, so then that kind of leads me to my next question. I'm about to ask you about your college team, knowing full well it's one of my rival college teams.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm a Red Raider.
Okay.
But tell me about your college allegiances.
Well, I bleed orange, so I graduated from the University of Texas. In fact, we're a Longhorn family. My dad was a Longhorn. All 3 of my sisters were Longhorns, and so it's definitely tradition. So in high school, I didn't even apply to another school. I got into Texas, and that's all I needed to do.
That was your goal from when you were smaller then? Because especially, like you said, it's in the family.
Absolutely. So. And
all your sisters. So everybody just you just knew growing up, like, that's where you were going to go.
Yeah, we're going to be Longhorns.
So then probably growing up, you were always watching Longhorn sports.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I went through some rough periods, my age, as far as bad football teams.
Yeah, it comes and goes, especially with most of the college teams that we follow here in Texas, right? So did you ever have aspirations to play anything in college?
I did. I actually, people laugh when they find out I used to actually be a basketball player, a pretty good one, because they don't think I look like it. But I actually tried out for the UT basketball team every single year. I practiced with a lot of the players.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And
so you were trying to do like a Rudy situation and like work hard and walk on the team?
If you go back and ask 20-year-old Jeff, he would tell you that he was the best point guard on campus.
Okay.
And so pretty cocky, but I was a gym rat. I mean, I'd play basketball 8 to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
I mean, just all day long till my legs gave out, and then would wake up and do it the next day.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm guessing, unless this is a newsflash I didn't know about, you never played for the UT team.
Never played for the UT team. I practiced with them a lot. And of course played a lot of pickup, and they actually it was really tough to get on the team, even if as a walk-on, because they do preferred walk-ons. They only have so many spots, and so they promise.
It's just not big rosters. Yeah.
And so that was tough to get on. But I did. My friends always joke about this. I did get my revenge winning the Hoop It Up tournament in Austin, which was a big deal. Yeah. Austin is like one of the biggest ones too, and UT players come and play in it. And we had to beat the point guard who I thought was stealing my spot on the team in the semifinals, and we beat him.
And you did.
Pulled up a 3 right in his face.
So you showed him on the Hoop It Up.
I showed it. That was my revenge.
I loved Hoop It Up. Man, I haven't thought about that in ages. One of our best friends, who we played with through the middle school level, then went to separate high schools, but she was the best basketball player I know. She went and played in college, but she was our Hoop It Up ringer. Okay. Yeah. You probably get 4, but 3 are playing at a time, right? So you only need a few. Yeah. Man, that's fun. That's good stuff. I hope kids still get to do stuff like that. Okay, then let me talk about your pro teams and allegiances. Now, this kind of Frisco comes in here too. Obviously, you have a lot of connections now, probably before too, but I mean, you do so much as Frisco develops in sports teams. But what are your actual allegiances to different sports teams?
Dana grew up in Houston too, and so we moved to Dallas back in 2000, and so we used to be Houston teams, and we kind of slowly converted. Of course, we were Oilers fans and then didn't really have allegiances when they moved to the Titans, so it was pretty easy for us to transition to be Cowboys fans real quick. I think probably the team we held on to the longest was the Astros, and it kind of took the Rangers, making those World Series runs to finally get us to flip the switch back over there. But we're loyal to our local teams.
So what about a few years ago when the Astros are in the World Series and they're on top again? You're still rooting for them?
Still rooting for them. Just kind of rooting for them when they're not playing Dallas teams. We're playing the Rangers. So, yeah. I'm a Rangers fan all the way, just because I grew up in Waco. So, I mean, I guess we could have chosen South and been Astros fans, but my dad was also our coach, our softball coach for me and my sister. Okay. And it was just kind of our thing was to drive up here for special occasions and go to, we did the Six Flags Ranger game weekend celebration thing. That was kind of our family road trip. So we've always been Rangers fans. We've adopted the Chiefs now. Okay. Obviously because their ties here to Frisco. Yeah. With the Hunt family who own FC Dallas, and so getting to know that family really well. They're just amazing people, and so it's pretty easy to cheer for them right now. And I know Mahomes. I'm the same way. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's not hard to cheer for Mahomes for me either way, but I'm the same way with the connection with the Hunts. I mean, if the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl, that would be, I guess, my next preference is the Chiefs. Like you said, just getting the interaction that I do get to have as far as media and availability and things with the Hunts is really cool watching their story. And, every chance they get, they talk about their mom and how she's gone to all the Super Bowls and all that good stuff. But my husband grew up playing soccer around here, and so he's the same age as Dan, I think. And so, they've crossed paths on different soccer teams and clubs and all of the history of his personal soccer life here. So I root for them. I root for FC Dallas, obviously, just because we're soccer people too. But I root for them to have success with their NFL team also. Yeah, absolutely. So then when we talk about your experience being mayor and getting to have involvement with some of these different teams, how has that bolstered or maybe changed your interest in sports in this town? Well, you just feel a connection, like you just said, the Hunt family, as far as getting to know them and the people behind the brand, gives you that bigger sense of attachment, and just hear the stories, and how they got to where they did, seeing behind the scenes, meeting the players, and you realize, you see them on TV, but realize, most of them are just normal people like us, right? And so that part of it is fun, and starting to see them around town, quite a bit, and It's
Yeah.
great, and being a sports fan, who wouldn't, if you're going to be a mayor of any city and you love sports, why wouldn't you be mayor of Sports City USA?
You're in the
come
right
on.
place. Yeah. Has it increased your appreciation for sort of the logistics and how some of these things, what goes into some of these things happening?
Absolutely. I mean, especially this year with COVID and just, we've been in the details even more, but just what it takes to run an organization. And, every single game is an event. It's a big event with the event planning and all that goes into that. And creating a great game day experience. And so, we've learned a lot from a city too, just seeing how these teams professionally run things and put on great events and, what it means for tourism, in the city and the 6 million visitors that used to come here and will hopefully be coming back soon.
They'll be back. Yeah, I mean, as fans, it's so easy to walk in to a stadium, a ballpark, what have you, and just experience it from that point of view, which is how most of us consume sports our whole lives, right? Like you probably grew up, did you get to go to games at UT games also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you probably grew up, that awe of walking in and finding your seat and checking out the field. And even like some sports, like we love to go early to watch batting practice or those kind of things. But then seeing the other side of it and having a different perspective, you realize how many people are in the stadium so early to get their jobs and their checklists done. And like with the legends, I did an article once with Malcolm and them on like their daily checklist, how it starts at 8 a.m. for their 8 p.m. game, for example. And it's just like, it's a long game day. And we're lucky as fans to just get to walk in the door and be like, here we go. This is great. Give me my popcorn. Let's enjoy it, So I want to ask you about parenting athletes and kind of like what kind of athletic, parent are you? Are you the laid back kind? Are you the super involved? Are you like the wannabe coach? I think your kids are at an older point right now, so you're probably not coaching anymore, but what does that look like for you?
I have multiple personalities when it comes to my kids' sports. So basketball, which, was my sport. I coached both of my boys and actually Caitlin in basketball. In fact, I coached, I put the field house for probably a decade between both of them. I'm a numbers guy, so I would literally track stats and trends during the game. We like to play aggressive. And if you ask both my boys, they would say I was pretty intense as a coach. And, I joke that I was the Mac Brown of Frisco basketball.
Oh, wow.
Because we won a lot of games and won a lot of championships. And it wasn't because I was a great coach, but I was a great recruiter.
Yeah, it's all about the kids, huh?
It's about the Jimmies and Joes and not the X's and O's.
So what age are we talking? How old did you coach them? And like for basketball, for example?
Yeah, until they went, probably into middle school. Once they started playing middle school basketball. So we started both of them when they were probably 5 or 6 years old, up at the YMCA, then worked through Fieldhouse, and we knew all the referees. I mean, it was fun. We had a great time with that.
I'm in that Fieldhouse time frame right now because I have a 10-year-old boy that plays basketball Fieldhouse. So he's a all year round different sport kid. Soccer and basketball and flag football sometimes and baseball, all those things. But right now I'm in Fieldhouse season.
Okay.
There's definite seasons of your life when you're into it and when you're not.
We felt like we were living there for a while.
Well, because Jack will play basketball there like right now, and then sometimes on the indoor turf, right, for soccer. And then like my husband still plays soccer. And so sometimes we're there for his adult men's league games, and it's just funny. I'm like, okay, how many times in one day can we go back and forth to one building for different sports?
So I would say on the flip side, my other personality is it. And after about 10 years of coaching basketball, I was happy to go back and be a dad in the stands. And when I watch them play other sports, I'm pretty laid back. I've always been a big believer that, game day is about the players and not the coaches. And so it's their opportunity to be on stage and perform and let them perform. Now, I do cheer pretty loud when they do good things, but yeah. And I'm a big believer in, the 24-hour rule when it comes to coaches and your kids. A lot of parents get emotional, but if you have a problem with a coach, let 24 hours pass, and that emotion subsides, and then, have a conversation. But
cooling off period.
Cooling off period,
It's important. I didn't really hear much about that as a parent until middle school. We had like a sit down I don't know, the athletic coordinators brought in speakers, and I actually loved hearing from her so much. She's been on here a few times, but that whole just idea, the concept of when you have a problem, like let it cool down, because most times a day later, it's really not that big of a deal. Most times the kid has already forgotten about it.
Right.
And especially if you sort of let it go, and it's really not worth the battle to bring up.
That's right.
And the coaches that's where you get into that middle school, where you go from the parents to these teachers. They're teachers and coaches who are just trying to teach the team as a team.
Right.
It's not the parent, and there's no favoritism anymore. It's a totally different type of coach, and you have to give them grace and understand that, like, you don't really know what is all going on behind the dynamic of this team.
Right.
And so, I love that 24-hour rule also. Okay, so you said that when they do something good, you're pretty loud. What about when something goes wrong?
No, I do not ever speak negative on the field. And, one thing that's always important too is that car ride home, right?
Yeah.
Which is, you are, if your kid goes 0 for 4 that day, I can guarantee you, if you tell them how bad their swing looked, they're going to just tune you out.
Yeah. They know they went 0 for 4.
No,
like
right.
they feel it, right?
Those are the days you pick them up and, tell them, hey, you'll, go 3 for 4 tomorrow, right back at it.
Sometimes we like to laugh about it, like, wow, thought you were going to try to go 0 for 5, or, make it a joke to where we all kind of understand, like, it happens to everybody. It's fine. It's just sports. Have fun. Did you have fun? Like, they're still so small. So, the car ride home is an interesting dynamic.
That's probably the one that, if you had my 3 kids here to interview to fact check me, post interview, that's the one that I hope they would say is that, our mom and dad were always really positive and we're never negative even when we had a bad day.
Yeah. So you kind of gave up the coaching world as they go into middle school and kind of all their sports. Doesn't it become so much more enjoyable? You lose the connection, granted, that you're involved in everything. But it's being in the stands is so nice and chill. Like, show up. You show up at game time.
That's right.
And you leave. And it's all good. And it's like, hey, what are we going to get for dinner? Not, let's break it down and figure out what went wrong and, all the stress that comes with it.
Yeah. I mean, part of me loved the intensity of that hour as far as, okay, I put together a game plan. We've practiced so hard. Let's see how it executes. And you feel great when they do well, and then it's your fault when they lose. But yeah, when you're just sitting up in the stands and
it's like
and get to watch, and you're like,
crazy.
Oh, that was fun.
But what about the connection part of it? Because that is one thing when my husband and I have stopped coaching, either together or separately, different sports. Because I did a lot of stuff with my daughter while he did most of the stuff with Jack. He still does some. But one thing I realized in middle school and now high school sports, the thing I don't like about just sitting in the stands is that I don't know the players.
Yeah.
Coaching,
right.
you know your kids' friends and new friends and that are new teammates so well in the big picture. You know their parents, you know a lot about them, you know their personalities, you know the funny little things they say and do and the jokes, and you're kind of in the circle with your kids' group. And when you miss that, like, it really bothers me that I'll show up for one of Reese's volleyball games and I'm like, oh, I don't know those 3 girls. Like, I don't know their names. Who are their parents? Like, it just, that part is hard to set. You feel that too?
I agree. We miss that. I mean, I think our circle of friends has somehow come from our kids' sports teams. You spend so much time with them. And really, FFL, I mean, at Frisco Football League, I mean, that was probably the one where we had the most, connections kind of going through. And now some of these kids have kind of scattered. And I actually still follow the kids that we kind of grew up with in all these different sports at these different schools, maybe even more than, at our school at Wakeland, as far as everybody. So I do miss that, but it's also fun now. We're in that phase where we're seeing these kids, some of who I coach, like Chase Lowry, Frisco High. I coached him in basketball. He's going off to play Division I football at Arkansas next year. So it was so cool to just see Chase excel like that and just see all these boys, how they've changed over time and what they're doing. And I do miss that part. Yeah,
that is probably really rewarding, especially with all the signing days we've had and so much Frisco activity with that, is to see, not that you are like the reason this kid's going to play D1 sports, but you're a part of it. There's something to be said for the coaches who started you on the path. They might have not been there to teach you the actual skills you're using and playing in D1, but they taught you a lot of different parts of being a teammate and winning and losing. Some of the really fundamental or foundational things that they built upon over the years. So that's probably really cool. Okay, one last question. You mentioned basketball a few times, so do you still get to play, like, recreationally? Do you get to play in a pickup leagues or weekend warrior or anything?
I did keep playing. We had an old man's team that we played at the field house for a while. We were the shot callers. And
That's funny. Shot callers?
Yeah.
That's great.
the old
Goes
song,
back to the rap music.
"Wanna be a baller,"
Yeah.
shot caller. Anyway, and one of my good friends, Rod, he tore his Achilles in a game, and I was kind of like, I don't know if that's the way I want to go out. So my knees aren't quite holding up. So I'll shoot around, but I haven't actually played in a while. So
Yeah, there's a difference, right? And
Oh my
just
gosh.
shooting versus
Yeah.
getting stepped on, landed on, landing on your ankle weird. Yeah, Achilles. We're at that age. My husband has had a couple soccer teammates that snapped those Achilles, and that is a ridiculously hard thing to come back from. And then kind of go, okay, now wait, why am I an old? You said old man league, I didn't, but I call my husband's league old man league. Why am I at this age coming back from an injury that was caused by playing rec sports, and then why would I consider keep playing that just for this to happen again? We have jobs. We can't just be like on crutches for 6 months in our life, right? So, I hear you. I still try to play a few things here and there, but it's getting less and less once I hit 40, I'm like, oh, batting practice, I'm there. Games, not as often.
yeah, golf is sounding pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get to golf a lot?
I do not get to golf a lot, but with the PGA coming to
Yeah.
Frisco, I need to start working back up on my game. So
Well, I'm sure you'll get not only opportunities, the most amazing, state-of-the-art, beautiful opportunities. Recently drove by and in awe of how much is going on there, how much progress is being made, but then just also knowing and kind of seeing the vision and hearing it from people like you guys of what's to come. It's really cool, really
so
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of cool opportunities to play there, hopefully. And a lot of the Frisco residents will. They just have to take advantage of it, right? So that's exciting. Golf coming to Frisco. Awesome, Jeff. Well, thank you. I know you're so busy. There's probably never a time when you're not busy as the mayor of a town like Frisco. So I appreciate the time out of your schedule to come sit down and talk to us and get to know you a little bit better to celebrate our episode number 100.
Well, thanks for having me. Love talking sports, so couldn't turn it down.
Well, you're welcome back anytime, especially if those Longhorns do something worthy of having a Longhorns
Ouch.
conversation. Sorry, no. Well, it's not like my Red Raiders are either. But no, you're welcome back anytime, of course. And thank you guys all for listening to this episode of Hustle and Pro. Remember to subscribe so you can get notifications on next week's episode.